Welcome back to Truth Hurts, where we expose corrupt politicians, lying corporate media. I'm Jake Duesenberg, your host, broadcasting live from the belly of the beast, the liberal zombie apocalypse of Minneapolis and St. Paul. And boy, do I really mean that today. Joining me not in Roseville, but actually in Minneapolis, is my lawyer friend Gunnar. Gunnar, thanks for joining us. It's not going to be I don't think it's going to be a good night for people in Minnesota. What are you thinking
No, I
here?
think Minneapolis is going to start to heat up. And you said you were in the belly and the beast, and I would argue I'm even more so here. I'm right here at City Hall downtown, and we'll see. There's already cameras, crews setting up. I'm sure the activity here will start to pick up, and we're in for probably a wild night here in Minneapolis.
Okay, so let's just explain to people if you're not following the news. ICE was conducting what I would consider a lawful raid today. We know the left in this state, and really, quite frankly, the whole country is basically against enforcing any kind of immigration laws, including fraudsters and really bad people, apparently. And so, what they were doing was what I would believe would be a lawful raid. I have no evidence to suggest the opposite. Protesters started showing up. A woman appears to be driving off. We have two reports, one from Homeland Security saying she used her vehicle as a weapon. People on the ground, as reported by the media, obviously skewed view. Well, both sides are biased, obviously, here, saying that no, this was unjustifiable, but a agent ends up shooting her with a handgun, probably instantly killing her. The vehicle seen driving off at a very accelerated rate, smashing into what looks like another vehicle. And then, it's pretty widely reported she's deceased. I think all we know, you had a name, but you don't want to confirm that now. She's a 37
No,
year
that was
old.
the name of the individual who took the video. The name has not been released yet, but it's a 37-year-old white lady who, looks like she was pulling a U-turn. I'd like to see the video before what happened. What happened up to that point, we're not sure. What we see really is this lady trying to execute a U-turn before she's, shot in this manner. So
Okay, and that's where we're gonna pick up the story here because I want to go through all the different camera angles. And I don't usually do this when we do a show, but Gunnar, I think it's pretty important for us to just say, like, there is a motivation by doing this show, and the motivation is to like literally just try to get some information out there, show people that there are two sides to a story, and just maybe some people can use the rational side of their brain and not destroy the Twin Cities over this thing, because we all remember what happened during COVID. Remember the May 2020 riots, which expand way beyond Minnesota eventually. We don't want to see that stuff again, and we're all worried that's what's going to happen. I'll try to get to a lot of you guys' comments here. We are live streaming. I know most people will probably watch this after the fact. Nep Canada, see you in there. O'Bannon, good to see you there. Oh, yeah. So O'Bannon hasn't even seen the video yet, apparently. So many of you guys probably will see this for the first time. You can only imagine what is being said by the media in Minnesota and what's being said by the protesters. So let's go here. This happened, I think it was late morning, and the first video that went viral. One second here, guys. Sorry about this. There we go. This is the first one that I saw that went viral. This is an angle that doesn't look very good if you were going with the narrative from ICE. I probably should have backed up and just actually went through what ICE did say. ICE said that their official statement said that a police or a law enforcement officer did fear for his life and the fear for the life of other people, and it was a lawful shooting. Okay, so here's the first camera angle that was going viral.
yeah, they said she weaponized her car and that this was a domestic terrorist incident. So you be
Right.
the judge.
What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck?
And sorry for the language, guys. Obviously, I don't control that part of it. Now, you can see from this initial angle, You are only seeing, okay, 1, 2 agents. Okay, only 2 agents from that angle. Here you see the third, okay? So this is a terrible angle, okay? This is the angle that I saw going around initially. Everyone would probably say that looks really bad. Car drives off, clearly smashes. It's widely reported this person passed away, okay? Terrible angle. I would say pretty quickly, maybe half hour later, maybe I'm all off on the timeline here. KSDP, for those that don't know KSDP, and once again, I'm guessing we'll have some people from outside the state. That's our ABC affiliate, Channel 5, produced a video on Facebook. This seems to confirm more of the story that we were told by ICE. So here we go. This is the angle. This is from a ways away here. You're going to see over here on the right side a law enforcement officer looked like he got bumped from the front of the car. See? There you go. Vehicle smashes in.
Let's try to replay the beginning of that
Yeah, let's
slowly if we
replay that.
can,
All right, here's the
because I
beginning.
think several videos, and this is the one that really does support ICE's case here.
Correct.
The other, I think are not as good viewing of the actual incident. I think that it must be said, ICE apparently is legally required to have a body camera on, so hopefully that footage comes out. I think that will give us a lot more information. But from what we see here, the individual looked like they were about to do a U-turn. They were going to drive off, and they were surrounded by ICE. Looks like this person, went right in front of the vehicle. The gun was already drawn, and this person just tried to speed away, and there was an ICE agent in the way. The ICE agent may have been able to sidestep, but we weren't there. We don't know the specific facts. It'll be very informative once that body cam footage comes out.
Well, and once again, I think you're right. I mean, this clearly, in my opinion, shows, okay, and we're looking at this right corner, that there is something to be said about ICE's statement, okay? Right there, okay? Now, I'm gonna show you the third angle that's been circulating here. And this angle is gonna show, it's gonna show slightly the bump, and then it's gonna be showing the officer engaging the protester here. Oh, just to back up. So that first angle we showed you, the angle is far to the right, so that's why you didn't see it. Now you're gonna see all 3 law enforcement officers.
You can barely see the guy in front, but he is there right about now.
Yep. Okay, and then it looks like there's actually 4 officers here. And then there's a slowed down version, Colin Rugg here, if you can see this. I think that's from that same angle. Okay, so you're seeing him being moved out of the way. It looks like it's actually pretty icy there. Actually, that makes a lot of sense if you know Minnesota over the last 2 days. They are telling her to leave the vehicle. Okay.
It looks like the guy has time to get out of the way. That's why I just wonder why they're trying to detain this person. What happened before this? It looks
Right, we
like
don't
that
know that.
guy, right? It looks like he had the ability to get out of the way, but again, I'd love to see that body cam footage.
Now I do believe, I mean, I think that because this vehicle was being used in a manner, you could make that argument. I think it will be the argument. It is the argument being used as a weapon, and obviously that's a very dangerous weapon. And this isn't the first time we've seen this in Minneapolis. I mean, let alone across the country, but just in Minneapolis, what was this, a couple years ago? An individual used a weapon in a lawful traffic stop, drove off, and this was the Lundgren case, the state trooper Lundgren, and he ended up shooting and killing the person. That one, obviously, there was two state patrol officers, both sides of the vehicle, and literally the guy started dragging them. But it did happen so quickly. Um, One thing I just want to say, Gunner, uh, what I can't get past in this whole dilemma with ICE is the fact that we have one side of the political aisle, okay? And anyone that's new to my show, I call out both sides on this show, okay? This is not like a right-wing show where we only say everything Trump does is great, okay? So we do call out both sides. But the left just seems incredibly unreasonable here in the sense that they believe there should be no immigration laws ever enforced. And it's even worse than that. It's not just that they don't think they should be enforced. They think that they should be able to utilize resources that American citizens should have. And this is obviously something that's being covered quite a bit in the national media, especially with these fraud cases, but also in the fact that they're creating a sanctuary city in Minneapolis and in Minnesota under Tim Walz, who actually signed this into law, giving illegal immigrants driver's licenses, which you can only imagine what that's going to be used for. Most people fear this is going to be a backdoor way to vote in the state of Minnesota. Definitely a backdoor way of citizenship. So you have one side of the political aisle that just doesn't even seem that they believe that there should be any law enforcement in this area, right? Which is insanity in my opinion. And the federal laws allow law enforcement to conduct these kind of operations, and it's kind of an interesting scenario here in Minneapolis, and I guess actually more jurisdictions than just Minneapolis. But like, will law enforcement help out when ICE is conducting the operation? It's like that very interesting debate that's going on in the Twin Cities for sure. And they are basically like ensuring their citizens, which are like literally socialists at this point, that they're only there to protect the citizens, not to help in any way federal law enforcement. Okay,
Well,
so
exactly. We've got a city council and a mayor that have created a sanctuary city,
mhm.
and these laws, that would govern immigration are just void here. There's a black hole. And not only that, we have the mayor who is directly confrontational with ICE and instructing the police department, the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, not to assist ICE in calls. If ICE is surrounded, they're on their own. If
Mhm.
ICE is needing support for some, huge bust, they're on their own. And of course, then you're going to be creating a battleground when you have the mayor tell citizens that ICE isn't wanted here, that what they're doing is illegal or what have you. No citizen is illegal, or no person is illegal. Um, Fostering this type of conduct and hatred towards ICE, who are legitimately trying to go and pull criminals off the streets. Yes, it's unfortunate that people are ID'd and they're profiled. This is, an unfortunate byproduct of a very loose immigration border system that we have. And this is the necessary result of it. It's incredibly unfortunate. And I pray for Minneapolis tonight.
uh, Gene Gene J. Ellison says the problem is the mainstream media is what people hear in comparison to the amount of listeners on alternative media. Well, the nice thing is actually it's changing. That whole thing is changing. Nick Surley just showed how the power of one independent journalist can overpower basically the whole media and set the tone for the country. So I'm very optimistic, and it's partly why we do this show. We do our show all the time about things that the mainstream media is not talking about. All right, let's go back to these camera angles, and let me first go through because I just pulled up the tweet here. This is from Homeland Security. Today, ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle, attempting to run over our law enforcement officers in an attempt to kill them, in an act of domestic terrorism. An ICE officer, fearing for his life, the lives of his fellow law enforcement, and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. By the way, it doesn't seem like other law enforcement were in that vicinity, but once again, we only see the angles that we have. So, we'll see what comes out from this point on. This only happened hours ago, by the way. Um, He used his training and saved his own life and that of his fellow officers. The alleged perpetrator was hit and is deceased. The ICE officers who were hurt are expected to make full recoveries. This is the direct consequence of constant attacks and demonization of our officers by sanctuary politicians who fuel and encourage rampant assaults on our law enforcement, who are facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats. This is an evolving situation, and we will give the public more information as soon as it becomes available. Okay, and then here is the one of the statements, and I think this is pretty obviously what a lot are saying. This is from Evan Hill. I think he's Washington Post. A witness to Wednesday's shooting in South Minneapolis told NPR News that she saw a federal agent shoot a woman several times. Emily Heller lives near 33rd and Portland and said she woke to commotion outside her home. She said she saw a car blocking traffic on Portland Avenue that appeared to be part of a protest against federal law enforcement operations. Heller said she heard ICE agents telling the driver, a woman, to get out of here. That's confirmed by the video. She was trying to turn around, and the ICE agent was in front of her car, and he pulled out a gun and put it right in, like his midriff was on her bumper. And he reached across the hood of the car and shot her in the face like 3-4 times, Heller said. Heller said it appeared the woman then accelerated and traveled about 100 feet before striking a utility pole and some other vehicles. She could be seen slumped over inside her car, making it sound like basically she wasn't driving at that time and she was just trying to engage in a U-turn. Let's go back to the videos. And then I do appreciate what you just said, Gunner, about the tone of these politicians. I'm going to break down Jacob Frey, what he just said to the press. It's pretty crazy. And then also the comments made by Tim Walz yesterday in a press conference. So let's go. This, once again, this is an angle. This could have been the angle this person was watching from. This was the first circulated. Okay, what do we think that person was doing? What do we think that woman was doing at that point? By the way, you can get the tone of what these agents are always dealing with. This is Minneapolis protesters here for you.
It looks like she was trying to drive through an area in which, ICE was operating, whether in protest or, just trying to get somewhere. But nonetheless, her conduct warranted this ICE vehicle, the truck here that you see, to pull up on her and, to either get her to move or detain her for some reason. We don't know why they pulled up on her and surrounded her
Right.
at this point.
Right, exactly. That's a really good point. We do not know that. Okay, so then I think and I'm going to go to jump to that third angle here. Once again, probably the best video, but then again, it's just a certain angle. It's a better angle than the other one because it shows the three officers. Might also show more what she's doing in the vehicle. Once again, you're not seeing her. She seems like she's waving her hands at him. They're approaching the vehicle, and now she's taking off. Oh, and then obviously going right towards that one officer. I guess the argument could be made, Gunner, here. This officer right here, this guy who's actually holding onto the vehicle at that moment, is being dragged a little bit. Okay. So maybe there could have been some danger there. Okay. And listen, I have no law enforcement background, just as a guy that was in the military, for what it's worth, infantry soldier dealing with stuff overseas. I can't imagine engaging someone in that circumstance. Okay. It seems like, despite her being in the wrong driving off, especially with those vehicles, they probably weren't going to be in danger at that point. That's just my perspective from that angle. This KSTP angle looks, I think, probably the best for the case for ICE's statement. Here you see, here in the bottom right. See, at that angle, it does look like, who knows what would have happened there, but he was being shoved quite a bit by a vehicle on an icy road. Once again, pretty dangerous thing with a vehicle. What are you seeing when you go through those statements?
So when I see that KSTP video, I see it looks like he's on the bumper effectively, and that's where she's trying to run him over. And that one looks like the shooting may have been justified, but the other one where he's a little bit closer, it looks like she's trying to just crank a hard right and get the hell out of there. And then this guy is approaching, and it looked like he was going to walk to the side of the car, but then also stood right in the middle of the car. And so I think, obviously, if you're being detained if an officer has their gun drawn on you, I think the best thing for you to do is to just put your hands up and abide.
Yeah.
That's not what she did here. She cranked a hard right and tried to hightail it out of there, and it was a fatal decision. And I think the body cam obviously is going to show us a lot more. It's still very much up in the air. Nonetheless, I think it's a tragedy, and I'm upset that these things have to happen in our city when our city council and mayor are fostering this type of
Yes.
battleground. It's
One
the
yes,
rhetoric is
100%.
insane. The rhetoric
100%.
is terrible.
100%. I want to read O'Bannon's comment, then I want to expand on that and show you guys Jacob Frey's comment. He says, if they were telling her to get out of there and then shot her when she did, that is problematic. But I read that a little different. So that's an interesting perspective. My perspective was, and I'll just go back to this last angle, that they were telling her to get out of the vehicle. Okay. So like they're trying to make an arrest because she's interfering with a lawful law enforcement operation, and that's why he's tugging on the door. Tell me if you see it differently. Oh, okay, yeah, you can when you turn it up, you can hear him say, "Get out of the effing car." So you do so okay, so they're not telling her to get out of there. They're literally telling her to get out of the car, and she's not doing that. So she's driving off. Okay, let's go to by the way, Andy Parrish says, "Why is the car sideways?" And once again, I guess we don't know why the woman's car
It
is
looks like
sideways.
she's trying to do a U-turn. So further to the, if you're looking at the video right now, that picture, the screenshot, um, over to the left was an operation. It looks like ICE. There's a bunch of ICE vehicles and personnel. And then, so to the right then is no obstruction. So it looks like she was either trying to drive through and harass, something like this,
Mhm.
and then was going to do a U-turn. And it looked like she had already made her mind to obviously get out of there. But the ICE had different plan for her.
Okay, so let's go to Jacob Frey, and this is just where I just don't know any other word than just calling this guy a puke. I didn't really care or know much about Jacob Frey until the May 2020 riots with the infamous like 2 a.m. press conference where I don't know how else to explain it, but he was like a JROTC cadet with his like first bad attempt at like some kind of, training mission. Like he just lost. He lost his cool. He is such an unimpressive individual. Also being in the news recently for his ridiculously stupid dance with the, Somali celebration. I mean, this guy's just a piece of work. Anyhow, this is Jacob Frey. We want to talk about tone. This is Jacob Frey. Just this afternoon. It's probably about an hour and a half ago.
Woman is dead and that she was shot by ICE. We've dreaded this moment since the early stages of this ICE presence in Minneapolis. Not only is this a concern that we've had internally, we've been talking about it. They are not here to cause safety in this city. What they are doing is not to provide safety in America. What they are doing is causing chaos and distrust. They're ripping families apart. They're sowing chaos on our streets. And in this case, quite literally killing people. So they are already trying to spin this as an action of self-defense. Having seen the video of myself, I want to tell everybody directly, that is bullshit. This was an agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying.
Okay, so an agent recklessly using power and somebody dying. And he says, Gunner, after watching the video, singular, he has come to the conclusion that the statement by ICE is bullshit.
I'm assuming he didn't see all three of those angles, and I think that there obviously when you make a conclusion before an investigation, you're just inviting riots, violence, and turmoil. I mean, instead of trying to calm the situation and allow peaceful protest or peaceful operations of law enforcement, he's coming to the conclusion that they're guilty and that this is a force that needs to be confronted. And so that's what you're seeing on the street. All of those people surrounding ICE
Yes.
are effectively Jacob Frey's foot soldiers.
Yes, correct. Yes, or even higher. I mean, it goes up to Governor Walz for sure, and I'm about to show you exactly what he said in a press conference yesterday. This is a statement by Jacob Frey in the same press conference as on Fox News's Twitter page. This is a direct statement from Jacob Frey to ICE agents. Here we go. Oh, let me just warn you, language on this one. Here we go.
Vice, we do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
Can you show the video, Jake?
Oh, is the video not showing? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, that was a great entertainment there. You guys just watching me watching it. Sorry. Okay. Thanks, Connor. Here we go. This is a video of it.
We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite.
There you go. Now, I went back because we were doing a show yesterday on Tim Walz's press conference, his meltdown, and he actually talked about these 2,000 agents. You know, there's obviously this is part of a big law enforcement operation by Department of Homeland Security in the Twin Cities. Here's a statement from Governor Walz yesterday.
We've got 2,000 folks. We don't even know who they are. They'll be wearing masks, being here in Minnesota, harassing them. If you want us to fix fraud, come and help us.
So, alluding to that, all these guys are doing is coming here to harass. And he also, let me just pull this up here. This is 3508 point.
I just think all of you see this. It is just going to be relentless. Why 2,000 folks? What are they coming? Do they want to coordinate with us? You saw a U.S. attorney stand up, which was been released would have been let go by any other administration, speculating about things with no factual information. That's defamation. That's coming from the U.S. attorney. We are under assault like no other time in our state's history.
Okay, so we're under assault like no other time in our state's history, and this is directly from Tim Walz's mouth. So once again, I think you made a great point, Gunnar. Like, what do these protesters, these leftist protesters, think when their leaders, their people they look up to, are saying stuff like this?
Well, first of all, I think his lapel pin is telling. I think that's pretty silly here. This is mine. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
America.
proudly wear this one. So I think, again, I mean, just like a pyramid, you know, this disease is spilling from the top. We have Tim Walz at the top of this pyramid, and he's spewing this type of rhetoric where we people in Minnesota want to feel safe in our communities. We want our streets policed. I work in downtown Minneapolis. I can't tell you the last time I saw police patrolling. It's like ghost town, dude. It seriously is like Gotham. It's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. I don't like it, but they do. They love it. I don't know why. It's insane to me. So when you see someone, our governor, our leader, saying that their operations are not wanted here, and they again are creating discontent within the citizenry and also giving them the green light to go protest like this, to go surround and harass ICE. What do you think is going to happen when these people are surrounded and caged while they're trying to clean up our streets? It's insulting to them. It's insulting to the work that they're doing. It's demoralizing to them and to the people of Minnesota, where again, now we have another situation that Minnesota is on the front lines of this type of insane sanctuary battleground situation. It's spooky. It's not right.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. I've been very critical of Trump, as you have been, you know, when he doesn't do things with transparency on the Epstein files and promoting big, beautiful bills and his foreign interventions, right? And I'm critical on him on a lot of those things because those were contrary to what he said on the campaign trail. But the one thing, like, very obvious to everyone is he did say he was gonna do this, and this was
Right,
very supported by the American people.
right.
I get it. Minneapolis as a jurisdiction did not vote for Donald Trump. It's probably like a 20/80 district for Trump. But what you do in Minneapolis affects the rest of Minnesota, and hell, it affects the rest of the country. Who are you guys to decide that we can't have enforcement of our immigration laws, right? Why do these people have a right to be here illegally? Now, if you're a legal citizen, that's a totally different story, and I'll be the first up there going, "No, I'm totally against any law enforcement action against legal citizens who are following the laws." But that's not what this is about, right? They want to confuse people on this, but that's not what it's about. It's about legal immigrants, right? Actually, I think it began, and it might still be a big portion of it, illegal immigrants who are creating not following other laws, drug laws, creating violent acts, stuff like that, fraud. Um, and that is what American people, and I think most Minnesotans actually want. Want to clean this up. And meanwhile, the left, what are they doing? We're going to create a sanctuary city. They want to create a sanctuary state. They gave driver's license to illegal immigrants. They're the ones that are pushing the envelope in the completely opposite direction of the populace here.
It's one thing, to have some type of sanctuary for the peaceful people who have been here, but when you broadcast to the world that you have a sanctuary city, it's
Hmm.
going to invite criminals and illegal activity. And that's what you see here in Minneapolis. I work here, I'm in here a couple times a week. And over the last 15 years that I've worked downtown, it has turned from, a shining piece of progress
Hmm.
to Gotham. And you see it in the streets, you see it in the Skyway, you see it everywhere. People leave work early because they're scared for good reason.
Right.
It's way too strange. I don't like it. I want my city back.
Yeah, they're killing it. And you don't live in Minneapolis, right? Like you live not that far from me. We're in the
Right.
suburbs, the far suburbs, exurbs, right?
Right. But I
Yeah,
still love this city. I used to live in
right.
St. Paul. Like I said, I've been working here for 15 years, lived in Minnesota all my life, gone to shows, concerts, football games, baseball games, and the city is not what it used to be. And it's on a
Correct.
trajectory, and with our leadership, the trajectory that it's on is going to be more Gotham and less utopia.
Right. Well, let's hope it doesn't turn into complete chaos today. And I guess that's why I wanted to do this show. And looks like we have a very good audience today. I just hope that people uh, allow an investigation. If this was unlawful, right? If this was wrong, well, let's prosecute to the full extent of the law. But you see the 3 different angles, and, since this is a live stream, I'm just gonna go back through them real quick, because, people do come onto the show here a little later on, but there are 3 different distinct, angles. This is the first one that got publicized, and a lot of people probably have seen this one. Sorry, did I, switch over? Yeah, I did switch over, okay. That is not me hawking a loogie there. That's the person around the camera.
What the fuck?
Okay, so on that angle infamously does not show the agent who was actually in danger. The KSTP angle shows the ICE agent that's in front of the vehicle. Look right here to the right here. You can see that person getting shoved by that vehicle. I want to go back real quick. Was it after the shooting? Yeah, this is also another interesting detail. Of course, if this goes to court or any review before by a prosecutor, um, the right turn might have happened after the shots here, right? You see that? Because that's pretty key. He might fear that she's going to continue driving forward.
That's where I
And
think that other angle, the last one that you played,
hey,
is
do
a
this
little
real quick.
more telling. But again, I don't want to be misleading one way or the other. I don't want to have a bias one way or the other at this point.
Yeah,
But this one, it looks like she's already pulling a hard right as the guy kind of walks up. So she's looking here, has it
yeah,
turned
you're right.
right, and then the shot.
From that angle, it does right.
I want to remind people too. I mean, after George Floyd happened here as well, we saw videos ad nauseum. I mean, how many times did you see that video? There's one in particular where George Floyd is seen apparently wetting himself. You see this stream of what appears to be urine coming from him, and so all these people are saying,
Mhm.
well, at this point, why didn't you just stop? The guy's done. I mean, he's just wet himself. That was actually condensation from the air conditioning of the vehicle, but yet most people still believe that was him wetting himself.
Mhm.
So these camera angles can be incredibly deceiving. And so that's where,
Right.
again, I want to just give people a word of caution here. Don't react. Let's wait for the facts to come out, because when you react, it's going to be more violence, chaos, and death. And then there's just going to be the National Guard called in here. Like, it's just going to be crazy if the wrong influences really catch hold tonight.
Well, and that's a really good point. Yeah, fuck, that's a really good point, Gunner. What do you think? Trump's gonna back down? Is that your read on Donald Trump? Like, you're right. If people start protesting and go to the streets, which we all fear is gonna happen from this instant, what do you think Trump is his tendencies to go, "Oh yeah, let's stop ICE operations. Let's not call the National Guard up." That is not his tendency here. Cool things down. If you really don't want this chaos, cool the temperature down, okay? But, that's I just I don't think I'm talking to rational people here. They seem to think that immigrants have a right to be here and take our resources,
It
right?
does seem
I'm
like
sorry,
the
illegal immigrants.
National Guard is on deck already. I mean, Trump has already stated that he was willing to deploy them here, and this just seems like it could be the final nail in the coffin, so to speak.
Yeah, which is something none of us want. We don't want that.
We
I don't
don't
think it's
want
a
that.
good
I mean,
role
we
for the
want
National Guard.
No, I mean, we want our streets policed. I don't want a war
Right,
zone. I mean, we were fearful of this during COVID. If we saw the National Guard on our streets during COVID, we would be
right,
irate. And
right.
this should be a same situation. Nothing against the National Guard's people. It's the leadership of our state that has failed
Mhm.
us.
Right, exactly.
And it's good
Uh,
people that are suffering, from this, and that's what's really tragic, because there are good immigrants. Obviously, we love the people that are here. We want them to be here legally by the books, and so that we can all feel safe and secure in our community.
O'Bannon says, "Effing Trump better stay off of True Social and Twitter." $5 Rumble rant there. Yeah, that's actually a fair point. Call out that side too, right? Like, keep the temperature down, and I don't think that's gonna end up happening here. At the end of the day, you got a dead person, and, well, we know what can happen.
Plus, I think
I don't know.
DHS Secretary Nome is still here, so I think that's just going to kind of further inflame and give a spotlight to this situation.
Right. But once again, I mean, we might be talking about stuff that's irrelevant because you and I have the position where they have the legal authority and should conduct enforcement of our immigration laws. And the people that were maybe trying to lecture here do not think that's legitimate, which is crazy. Like, to think that somebody can be here illegally and take up the resources of our country, which is like basically indirectly stealing from the mouths of my children, is crazy in my opinion.
I
And
can
Trump
see,
was very successful in politics because he ran on an issue of closing down the border.
I can see the emotional argument of a trickle here and a trickle there, but we're not seeing that anymore. We're seeing wide scale fraud. We're seeing an open
Yes.
border, and we're seeing unsafe communities, human trafficking. It's
Mhm,
horrible.
mhm.
So, yes, the emotional argument of a couple illegal immigrants that really need to come here for their safety. Okay, I see where, the liberals have a soft spot for that, but that's not what we're seeing anymore. That soft spot has turned into a tumor.
I've been uh, Andy Paris says, pull up the Tim Walz presser. I was about to sign off, but let's see. Is Tim Walz doing a presser right now? Let me just look this up here. Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Okay, we'll go live to this here. Skip ad.
And Colonel Bogojevic of the Minnesota State Patrol. This morning, we learned that an ICE officer shot and killed someone in Minneapolis. My deepest condolences to the family, to the loved ones who had to learn about this tragic event on national television. We've been warning for weeks that the Trump administration's dangerous, sensationalized operations are a threat to our public safety.
And there he goes, doubling down.
Get hurt. Just yesterday, I said exactly that.
Yes, well, we just played that.
Seeing the consequences of governance designed to generate fear, headlines, and conflict. It's governing by reality TV. And today that recklessness cost someone their life. I've reached out to Secretary of Homeland Security.
He used the term reckless now, too.
Let me be clear. Donald Trump and his administration may not care much about Minnesota. That's been pretty evident. But we love this state. We won't let them tear us apart. We'll not turn against each other. To Minnesotans, I say this. I feel your anger. I'm angry. They want a show. We can't give it to them. We cannot. If you protest and express your First Amendment rights, please do so peacefully, as you always do. We can't give them what they want. The hearts and minds of the people in this state are on our side. To Americans, I ask you this. Please stand with Minneapolis. To Minnesotans, know that our administration is going to stop at nothing to seek accountability and justice. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension are working on the investigation. We have activated the State Emergency Operations Center. State Patrol and Minnesota National Guard leadership is connected with the Minneapolis Police Department, the St. Paul Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the DNR, and Minnesota's Homeland Security and Emergency Management. We have activated dozens of members of the State Patrol's mobile response team. And from here on, I have a very simple message. We do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotan safety. I've issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard.
There you go.
We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary. I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. And these National Guard troops are our National Guard troops. They're teachers in your community. They're business owners.
Cooks.
They're construction professionals. They are Minnesotans. Minnesota will not allow our community to be used as a prop in a national political fight. We will not take the bait. We will continue to update you, Minnesota, as we get more information. Now I'd like to turn it over to Commissioner Bob Jacobson of the Minnesota Department of Public Safety.
Okay, I got to say, Gunner, I'm just going to stop it there. I got to say, that is a different Tim Walz, a different sounding Tim Walz than I was expecting there. Sounding somewhat rational there, talking about the National Guard being our own people. I mean, it's almost like a guy that's been so humbled by lessons that he's learned, even a recent lesson that forced him out of office, right? Because he infamously said, you don't want the National Guard. They're just a bunch of 19-year-old cooks, right? That's a quote. I mean, not verbatim, pretty much verbatim, by Tim Walz during May of 2020.
Wasn't he in the National Guard?
Let's get I didn't want to go there, but it's interesting for him to lecture us on what a warno is. It seems like he had a warno to go overseas, right? To go to Iraq, and then he dodged that deployment and left his troops. But anyhow, I don't want to go down that road right now.
Well, I think obviously that tone, to your point, I mean, that tone is very much different than what we were expecting, and it's a contrast to Frey's and a welcome contrast to Frey's. But nonetheless, what he harbors in his heart may be different. I think what he's doing is preempting the Donald Trump aspect, the Donald Trump play here, which would be to just chuck the National Guard in here right now.
Yeah.
And so I think what he's saying is, I'm willing to do this. And so he's, both trying to tamp down some type of discontent, but also signal to the feds that he is willing to escalate if needed. So this situation could get out of hand, and I think he knows that and sees it. And right. And I don't think
Gunner, I am his biggest vocal critic. I mean, literally, you should just watch my show yesterday. Like how bad I went against Tim Walz. But I got to say, I think you're right on that. I think he's actually made the right message here to try to not have this thing escalate. Right now, with that being said, still saying stupid shit at the beginning, because he literally believes that illegal immigrants are Minnesotans and they have every right to be here. This is a guy that signed driver's license for illegals into law. So with that when you get that out of the way, yeah, I think you're 100% right on it. Like, let's not escalate this damn thing. That's not good for Minnesota at all.
No, we'll see what happens, but I really do hope that there is some type of rational discourse and calm minds that prevail.
Right, right. Okay, let's end it here. Appreciate everyone tuning in. It looks like we got a big X audience. Usually I don't have a big X audience. I'm not big on that platform, but you know, that's the nice thing about X is that's probably the fastest way for news to spread. And this is breaking news. I wasn't planning on doing a show. We usually only do Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tomorrow we actually have Mike Lindell. I'm going to be interviewing Mike Lindell about his run for governor. But I was like, I was about to do a video, just a montage of all these things. I'm like, it's just easier to go live. It's just much easier for me to go through it if people could just work with, um, the little transitions to put up the videos. And those are the three that I've seen. I'm sure more will come out because remember, a lot of people got their phones at these protests, but those are pretty three interesting angles. And that KSDP one, I do want to say, seems to validate more of what ICE is saying. So hopefully calm heads will prevail, Gunner. Let's hope they prevail. All right.
Pray for peace, everyone. Minneapolis is worth preserving, so we'll see what happens.
That's right. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm not going to do a after show today, but if you are interested in becoming a premium insider, do sign up. We're on truthhurtsnews.com. Just click on support us on the top. Otherwise, you can go to Rumble and just click on join there. This is brought to you by Alpine Cabtree in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and also brought to you by Elite Guardian. MN.com. By the way, just speaking of Elite Guardian MN.com, we do concealed carry courses, or what we call a permit to carry in Minnesota. And we talk about justifiable taking a life in there. Now, not as law enforcement officers, but as individuals. So I don't have a date for my next course, but we will have one, I'm sure, here pretty soon in the next month. So anyhow, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.